Hi everybody, I'm Jess, your go-to Street Fighter bestie, and we are here at the final challenge analysis, which makes it so bittersweet because we've looked at a ton of material together in reference to Street Woman Fighter Vietnam, and I'm really excited to see how all of them handle this track. And so what we're gonna do is look at each group at the same time, do a full reaction of all of them, and then I'm gonna kind of place my overview vote as an audience member. I don't believe they vote for these, but anyway, just kind of doing that and then going back and analyzing all of them and just appreciating the art and the beauty of what they have worked so hard all season long to just showcase as groups. So I'm excited to just celebrate with y'all. Let's go ahead and get started.
Girl Dress Representative, F.E.D.
Ready. Yeah. Nice. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Wow. Wow, that was really cool. So cool.
HANOIXGIRLS.
Cool. Nice. It's always interesting when you see groups choose to go with a long coat because it can throw you off so much because of the weightiness of it. Wow. Wow. Cool. They're like, who needs clothes? They keep taking their hats off. They took their jacket off. Cool. Nice. 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 Oh man. Oh man, here we go.
Burn all the way. So fire.
Wow, I love seeing so many different people's takes on the same track. Ah! Yeah! Wow. Hey, burning. Look at that. Look at So Fire getting the burning. Ooh. Cool. That's dope. Oh, wow. 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 So, like, I got emotional just then because every group in the finals, both routines were banger. Oh, I love it when that happens. Like, the worst thing for me is whenever we're watching a challenge and a group obviously struggled. And not in the lens of, like, of course, behind the scenes, everybody had a struggle with this track. This isn't a typical wheelhouse, especially for SoFire. But, like, to have a successful set where everything worked, what's the girl to ask for? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I am so freaking proud of with all three of them, is both of their challenges were very competitive. And not only that, competitive in the sense of it showed their growth, but also it showed, I don't know, it represented the tracks. They followed the assignment. All of them did in different ways. And that's what makes it fun. Do I still think F.E.D may pull the win overall? Yes. And what I find funny is if they do in fact win, they're in a metallic that reminds me of Bebe when they won. It reminds me of Just Jerk when they won. It's the metallic, guys. I'm telling you. So if they win, we can say it's because of the metallic. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think too, if you're listening to the track, it definitely has a heavy, heavy synth vibe. And F.E.D really bodied that. A huge risk to go with the type of fits that they went with. and it worked very well. But man, SoFire was so freaking creative with how they chose to go about it. Really. The beginning reminded me, for me, of like a studio competition open routine with how it was set up. It was something I have seen time and time again in the convention circuit that I'm familiar with, but how it progressed was so fascinating, and I was entranced by what they were doing. And Hanoi felt like they went with like a subtle, like a matrixy vibe, which is cool. Like all of them held it down very well. Let's talk about it. Let's celebrate it. I like all of them for different reasons, just like the last challenge. So freaking fun. Right here from the jump. Huge risk to wear bodysuits like this. There is no extra material that will help you. Every line that is going to be viewed is going to be viewed. And so we can tell if you're off so much more here than in the other two outfits that could work in their favor because they were just as clean. Really cool. So then you have this abstract hand traveling it through, a little vibration, and I love this angsty level where we have all of their arms travel up and the baseline down here, and then the contrasting levels here at the top. And not levels, but well, no, not really. The angles is what I meant. I'm so sorry. Goodness, Jess, English. Okay, so a little angsty once again, the little crisscross, and then you have the every other extension up. This choreo structure felt more like F.E.D. than most things. From the K-pop challenge, I remember certain sequences that they did introduce that here, which is kind of cool. It kind of showed their color more so than a replication, if that makes sense. Same with all the groups. All the groups felt that way. HANOIXGIRLS specifically for their first challenge of this episode, and then SoFire felt more like this is what they wanted to show us all season long when it comes to their vibe. That's what that felt to me. And I think job well done. All of them. Job well freaking done. Okay. And the meltdown is cool. The trace on that is really nice. The stoicness of the position. And then all of them have this like, kind of automated. It kind of gave that impression. Not like a mouth, like AI, but we're mad about it. Okay. And they travel it up. I like the little angsty, of course, stylized hand. They introduced that throughout the whole thing. Add energy. I really like how we have no open spaces in the arms. Really nice. And the heads are crisp. Click, click, click. Really nice to see that. They open it up. Start. Kind of looks, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what? Pin. Oh my gosh, Jess. Why are we trying to do geometry right now? It's a polygon, right? Right. And I love how it went from a closed polygon and then they folded it down to create a really, really dope, almost, I mean, not really spider-like, but the angles are really, really important in this. And when they hit high risk, high reward is what this routine feels like to me. Crazy, crazy. And the LEDs are eating too. That right there, how she swims it through and has her arms completely interlocking on our next feature is wild. And I like the little arch in the back. We have our hands, boom, Shantae. I think her arm's a little bit too early there, but whatever. And then we have this little bend of the elbows, that hyperextension. They said, let's use it because you can see it and it goes nice and itemized. It's a little bit of a strobe in how they chose to revert and retract that wave. Oh, you know, I know. So I would say my girl at top felt very much like a strobe, but everybody else just isolated it to bring it back in. I like the little head rotation around, super cute. Then we have this moment where they all lean away, and I like that they lean away from our feature. She goes and she holds her kick. Her développé was really nice, and then she takes her body, arch, and bringing it up, that tick, 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 tick. And they didn't technically do ticking, even though I think that's what they were trying to go for. That's life. And then they hit, I know, boom, with a tap, tap, tap. This right here reminds me of Criminal, that choreo a little bit, right? All this here, how they're holding themselves in posture reminds me of that. And then the chest there, hit, and then we build up, and then we dig on this. That part also reminds me of it, the upper body at least, because we ended up traveling it in the lower body for the Criminal choreo, but this scoop feels familiar to me. Then they do a cross step on that switch, and then they travel it from my center to the next group. I'm running, and then they do the third. This part, hit it, da 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 da. I like just the syncopated on the da 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 da. Very clear on what you're hitting. And then we go out in, and I love the switch up on the feet there. Super fun. It goes out in, and then they do a little shampoo, and they drop the leg, then they sweep that leg front. Then they have a nice little, just, I don't know, have the one leg straight, the other one bent, and then they end up going into a really nice unison kip up, and everyone finished quite well. I'd say one of them didn't look front like everybody else. Well, 2 didn't. But it's so subtle, it doesn't matter. I'm a star, little dip up, and we run. Look at me. And me, come on, yes. And then right here, I love the threading choices, and I like that we have the contrasted mirrors with our, like, more of a zigzag, and then we create a nice little circle. Then we have a little crown on that, and then she presents it out and up, and then we have this fold. We go place in place, which is really nice. And then the split. This was really nice in structure when I noticed this, where you have your straddle right here, but I like that we have complementary, like a mirrored level that showcases an extended leg out, so she doesn't feel so out of place. And if anything, these two have my center connected to my upper group. That's a really good formation with levels. And I like the presentation with this circle, and then we expand it over to the side, and then we have another one kind of partner up there. Really nice. Then we go over. So a lot of these range choices, and they're kind of changing up context, right? So how they're getting in and out of it is slightly different, but it's all familiar, which is cool, which is a risk if it feels like we're just repeating, but they're not, which is cool. So from here, I really, really love the risk they took, because you get to appreciate every freaking line that they make. It is awesome. Look at that. Come on. Yeah. Huge risk, but they did a great job. Held it down well. And then they undo what they did, and then we press, we do a nice little kick in the straddle, we get caught, and then we have our legs extended. Look, it is the same concept as what you saw earlier when you had the straddle on the ground. They had their legs on the ground, but now look, we have a straddle in the air. We now have that leg elevated to showcase and marry a different level to tie in what's going on in the freaking formation. That's so practical. That's really well done. And as she grabs her, of course, it did look a little labored just from our vantage point, but whatever. She comes up, drops her down. Not quite the cleanest descent. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't care about that with any of these. Guys, the final performance, we're celebrating the art. That's what this is. This is great. Yeah, awesome. Honestly, in my humble opinion, final performance is not going to influence who wins to me. Like finale, I kind of feel like decisions have already been made. Do you know what I mean? Like if everybody holds it down and everybody's competitive, it's going to come down to preference. And the whole thing has been just wild in the whole side of things. Like, it won't surprise me if any teams win, but I just already kind of told you who I think is going to take it, just based off of what I've seen in the analysis of things when it comes to how I would rank people. F.E.D's been the most consistent, which is why I want to reward consistency. Even though people go off of itemized challenges, this is really dope, though. I love how they have the little opening there. The little come here is nice. She branches it up. I love that boom and burning, and then it goes from 2-2, and then we have 1, and then she takes it. I love this little arm, not really arm control moment, but it's a nice pose that she does. Not really showing off a ton of the shoulder flexibility there. Totally fine, but I like the pose of it. This little back attitude is nice. The hinge around, I love this, where they're still looking at her, and I like the little replacement of the arms. That was so cool. Then fire, and we're still looking, and then we take it going into a lunge. Everyone joins in, and she does a little flick up, and we have 2 people now, 2 outliers. Now it's an add-on. Desire, and then they all move to stay it up. It kind of feels like they kind of did a call and response where she did the first bit, and then they did it when she transitioned in the center. And it goes there. Really nice, and I can very clearly hear that on the hip. Oh, gorgeous. The nice little chalet turn to get to a new spot, and then we have this little angsty moment. So I like the commitment with the performance with the extra head knock on that, and then we hinge it around, and I like that they all create a nice leveled placement. That does feel very F.E.D of them, just based on how we've seen them workshop behind the scenes, which has been really fun. And then I like this where we go and we rotate, taking that hand behind the head, and I like the complementary arm right in front. It's nice. It feels deep. It doesn't feel very like 2D. It has depth to it, right? Because we have some things in front, behind our head. It's nice. I like that little head bobble. It does tie into a little bit of their first challenge, which I find to be really fun, the V-pop one, right? Then we have the speed change on that. It's also really nice. Then we do a nice little rotation, bringing it back in. This part, I like the little so we have it integrated, so I like that we sped up our walk to tempo match there. And then we take our arms, bring it over. Then we have this elbow out in with a contraction, which matches a lot of what they did earlier. So it's familiar, but not a true, like, oh, they're just repeating, which is nice. Then we have the stylized points, and we're creating just different contrasted angles that represent, low to high. We end up switching, so that's really nice. And the extra present out with the tap is nice. And I love the toe taps on that, and we're traveling it up so you have a smooth, so it's polyrhythmic. We have a constant that's hitting in the back, and then you have just some smoothness that's hitting the vibe and the flow. Oh, out, back in, which is nice. And then I like the subtle transition on that. And then we check our makeup, but aggressively. And then we flip that hair back and we bring it back in. That does feel like we were trying to go catwalk, but I don't think that was what we really were going for, which is fine. And then to go hit and drop. I really love that choice on that. And they take the energy out to the side, take the arm, travel it down to the hip, and then we shampoo it, and then we still have a connection with each other, which is really nice. And then we take it, I like the bevel position because we have the fur on our cufflinks and on our ankles, they are a focal point, or some things can get a bit lost in translation. I love that we have it sat in the back leg, and then we travel the energy up the body, and then we allow it to be a focal point near the tail, into the arm and the hand. I like the flick on that, eye contact to the front, and then we end up retracting it and using this body roll as a natural weight shift to transition. I love things like that. I like putting that on my own work, where you're having a movement where I'm traveling my energy over through a snake or something, and my body naturally wants to go that way, and I just let it happen. That's what that was, and I love it. It's cool. And now we have 2 lines, and then they go into a diagonal, turning it back in. Now, could they be cleaner? Absolutely. If you're going to do a concept like this, it's like a go big or go home. Like, this is a huge risk. They were clean enough. Could they have been cleaner? Yes, especially like for the fits that they're in. Everything gets seen, but they held it down so well in so many other components that it really helped aid to when they weren't the cleanest, which here in this case, I don't quite know if we were intending to go various levels, but that would be like a little subtle thing, right? But I like the little partnering moment over here, super dope with the levels, and I like their eye contact too, and I like the breakage over speed change with the torso. Then we have this moment, she flicks it up, so I like that she has to press her weight on those hands in order to allow that accident to happen, and I like the partner to make it look like more of a moment. And they go back in that and that was a really dope transition to get into 2 lower levels with 3 upper and a window. That's a really dope transition from a partner to a diagonal to windows like that. Ugh, dope. With levels already established. And then now it's turned into a double partnership. Like, we've just created freaking, I don't know, mitosis or osmosis, or I forgot which one. I've been out of school for a while, I'm sorry. But then you have a fun little solo moment up at the top. Like, that's, the phrasing of the transitions on these formations are sick. So cool. It goes, vroom, vroom. So she hits it down. So she does a wave with the accent with the shoulder, and then they all press it over to the side. Really cool. Then they all drop down. Their chests are on the floor. This is super cool. So we traveled up. Your soloist is up, establishing a different level, and then you have those 2 travel it up the leg. So cool. Then we pick it up. Golly, this is cool. So then you have your top feature. She's controlling these 2, and these 2 are literally about to trace down the freaking leg. Yeah. Da-da-da. That is a cool sequence. So freaking cool. Then right there, they all drop, bringing it up. Doesn't that remind you of HANOIXGIRLS whenever she did the kip up into that? But I like the vibe of this because it ties into a lot of what they did earlier on in the emotion. Really nice. So she does just a nice little bridge back, but just more like a hinge, I think, if anything. So I like the cross on that. And then from there, she has her moment. She has a nice little flow presenting forth. They just do a roll, and then they body roll up. That's a really cool shot because of what they're wearing. You can really see it articulated, 1 vertebrae at a time. Clean. Cool. Bring it back in. Boom, boom with the chest. Then you have this nice little pop, pop. We're just going booty pop for a second. Let's go. 1, 2, pop, pop. And because of the marching kind of percussion in play, I like the fact that we just want to recognize it and hit it. It's cool. And then we have another little moment traveling across. Like, they have a very balanced routine to where it's a pretty simple unison section right now, but they just had a super complex formation transition structure with levels, with partners, with freaking traces down somebody's leg. Like, they had a lot of creativity utilized earlier on. So having something very familiar and just like, is super fitting there. Totally fine. Love it. And bring it back in. Da, 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 da. So you hear that in the percussion. And they go toe, 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 toe. Bring it back in. Then they do a little kick there. And then they have it switched over. I do find it interesting that we're pushing more forward versus up because she has a da, da. And you would normally see people have their chin pressed up. But I like the intensity of this, though. And then from there, I do wish the head ISO was a little cleaner, but I see what they're going for. Here. Yeah, here, here. They go over. Boom. Oh, man, if that was like wildly isolated, I think I would have lost my mind. That would have been so freaking cool. But I saw the intention and I appreciate it. Go back in, so she goes down. She's now in like a little she's in a 5th position with her little arms. Porta bra, come on, girl. So they all come up. And now from there, they lift her. She has a fun little model moment. Like she's suspended, that's cool. They're moving her through, not making it super awkward. Beautiful, having her down. Subtle walks, head, nice, head. And listen, and then we have our little feature moment. Hit. I love how she kind of breaks away in that way. I love that choice stylized hand. She goes in and over. I love the arch on that. And then we walk, 3, 4. So there is our walk. It's the finale. We get to finish it how we want is what this feels like. I love it. And they all get to have their own little moment. Really nice. And then from here, we have some unison. Let's go. They hit, boom, eyes. This feels like F.E.D. right here. They're like, welcome. We're finishing the way we want. And it goes lies, and then your center, she does the middle with her hands, and then the other, everyone else does too, right? Oh, they go here, and she really goes to the mouth. That's fine. They go 1 and 2 and, so they're letting the chest lead on that as they're tapping the foot, carrying most of the weight on their right foot as the other foot that's tapping in, nice and subtle. And then they bring it to the other side. First one is stationary, not stationary, but it stays that same direction, and the second one changes direction. I love that. And they hit it out, boom, 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 boom. I like that choice with the chest, and they're building it out back to center. And that part, you see what I mean? The very criminal of them. And then we switch, boom, 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 boom. Nice syncopated, come on now. And they do a little brush with a flick of the foot. They do a nice little turn, and then we have a little explosion with the claw-like hands. Freaking bonkers. That's real. They should be so proud of that. That's so cool. If all of these songs were technically kind of out of pocket for them, I'm so glad we got to see growth like this. For me, like this is a hireable portfolio. Like for me, if I had a track like this and I wanted to do something cyber, I would hire them to do that. Good gracious, that was cool. Okay. Here we go. HANOIXGIRLS. They chose to go risky with props again. So I love the baseball bats. Here, it's a preference thing. I think the capes are fine, especially it gives that matrixy vibe, which helps with that cyber sound. I think how the props were utilized, part of it did feel very labored and a liability. Just like with SoFire and just like with F.E.D. with the previous challenge, everybody had a prop that made it a little bit tricky, right? That little gimmick that really helped make it stand out, which can work in your favor. But there's always risks with it. Just like with F.E.D. with their fits that they're wearing, huge risk. Just like here with their prop, huge risk. And then also having that meshy middle, going into the splits using the chairs, risk. I love it though. And I love the fact that all of it technically worked. It's cool. So right here, they move out like the head there, boom, boom. It did feel a little bit off, but it could be audio overlay. Very simply that. The little brush on the cape. She comes up, and I like how they got into that little double fan, and then how she's holding it there. And they end up doing a direction change on it. Well, actually, no. I don't think that's what happened. We just got to pan around on the camera. If they direction changed that would have been freaking sick. But that's really hard to do logistically. I don't think that's what they did. We got to double check, though. Yeah, they're just holding it. Camera shot really made that look cool. It's still cool. But if it really did, like, move like that, oh, sheesh, that would have been filthy. Anyway, dropping it down. I'm a star. I love that choice when they have a little presentation. It does feel like we have a huge accent, exclamation point of energy, which worked for the Harley Quinn set of influence because that's the kind of vibe Harley Quinn is. Here, it feels like there is a sense of, like, you can be combative and be like, but also there could be huge wordplay that I am missing. We got to chalk it up to that. I only know English. I know English really, really well, but Vietnamese, not at all. Like with Korean, I can pick up some stuff in the vocab realm, but not at all Vietnamese. But it's fun. They got some English, enough in English for me to piece something together, right? It does feel like we have some really extroverted choices that make it feel that I can't appreciate certain elements. But once again, that's a preferential thing. They feel very HANOIXGIRLS, and I think that at the end of the day, as long as a group gets to feel like a group, I'm okay with that. And I like the subtlety here in the conversational element of this, which is really, really nice. I love that. And I like that, the little hinge around is cool. You do notice with the capes, you run the risk, which is what we're seeing. The capes are going to rest a little different, so the range is going to look off on timing, right? I like the hit, Shantae, and I like the little pulse on that is fun. Her little walk is cute, and they build it up, bougie amma. And I like the brush, boom, and I like how they're letting the cape kind of influence the body and how it waves through. It's really cool. And they double it up there. They do a flick, 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 10, and they take our arms, and then we have our cape. So the fact they're utilizing it as much as they are, thank you. I appreciate that. It doesn't feel like just an outfit. It feels like it's a prop that we're utilizing way more than just one time. They do end up throwing it away, just like the jester hats. I think that's just so funny how they're like, we are throwing away every prop. We're leaving it all out there for all the fans. I think that's just fun. And they bring it over. I like the extra element of the syncopation right there on the track. Bring it up like that. It is a little tricky to see the little passe with the flick on it, but that's life. It happens. They go down. They bleed it up. She has her moment. I like the little jump rope on that and bring it like that in, which is cool. And then go back like, which is also nice. I like that. Is that the HANOIXGIRLS logo? Maybe. I love that. The subtlety there is nice too. Energy, we pull it on the trace. We're here for it. Come on now. Hitting it over, and then we reestablish a wider range. Nice. I'm a star, and then we have a star, and we twinkle it in, and I like how we travel it over to the side. And then we do a little add-on. Look at me. And to a column. Come on now. Really good timing on that. This is a nice little cannon on that. It was a little tricky to see what our formation intention was out of that, but then getting into and then rotating it, covering them all over. I love that, where she has her moment, and then she has this little lift. Part of me does want to see it from the front so I can really see how high that leg is, but I like the aerial shot where you really can't see anybody else. That's well done, well covered. I like the flick on this. So they're using the cape to drape, but also to flick. They're using it in different textures and ways that you haven't really seen in the season, which is kind of cool. Hit. I like the low, 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 and then we hit high, and we're adding that. You hear it very clearly what they're going on there. So I like her subtlety. Twinkles it in, and then we bring it over. Da 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 da. Get that burning. I like that burning, and we hit it. Boom, boom. The little pulse right there on the heel is nice. And then we boom, 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 boom. It just feels a little quirky on the pulse too. So we're progressing it. So a pulse is a constant, like a heartbeat. It's a constant kind of sound that we're hearing, which is what you hear, that bum, 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 bum. That's syncopated. Doom. And then you hear that wow, 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 wow. So they're registering that sound's there, but they're still hitting this sound. Cool. Not the snap, but you know what I mean. The shoulders are nice. Shoulder with the arch, and then we take the arm, we rotate it around there. Hips. Over. That's nice. Now, what are they saying in the words? Is it eyes? Is it eyes? Is it ass? What are they saying? I think it's eyes, but they're showing their butt. So that's why part of me is like, what word are they using? That's life. The add-on is fun. So it goes 1 and 2. And of course, the arms are a little bit off, but that's fine. Bum, bum. Syncopation is nice. It goes out, in, and then you fold in, up. Then we unfold on one side, and the little pickup is fun. Mwah. I love that. Oh mama. I like the stylized hand on that choice was really cute. And I like the connection with the capes are also cute. Then they present womb with the head. Come on now. I like the front to back, and I like the fact that they have such a color, like it's such a vibrant color. The risk is you can tell when they're off, but you can also tell when they're on, and it makes it more captivating, just like with F.E.D. with the full metallic bodysuits, man. Crazy. Here, I really like the choice because you can really see them utilize their chest, which makes it more powerful, and it makes it more full that way. Bring it in, eyes, eyes. Now that part I think is an example where it kind of just had that extra swooshing with the cape. You can't control that. It's fabric. It's not your body, so that's just like my one little qualm with the risk of using capes. But I like the fact that they're actually using them to help contribute environmentally though. And the pull in is fun. They take it away. They're like, boom. Eyes, eyes. And they said, let's go. I like the legs being extended out. Now they're like, we're going to officially respectfully pop off is what this feels like. Cool. Legs extended out. Bring it back in. Turn to the inside. I like the little bridge. So they kind of wrap around to the bridge. Then you have this, everyone feels so angry, right? I think it's kind of dope though. And they go back in. Boom. Head rotation over. And then from here, she preps up. I like the breakage of the knees on that. Looks nice. And she's pressed up into a candlestick. They go back in, and then she's switched up into a shoulder stand. Well done on our ladies getting that switched over really well. She grabs right there and then hops over. Very nice. Boom, boom, boom. I like the travel up on that. And then they go, and then they rotate it over just to I think it's just windows with one of them pushing a little bit more forward on that front line. Then a little swing, swing. Here's your dance break. Feels very dance break oriented, which is nice. And it goes, very nice. Cool. And I like just the direction of some of our choices. It's just really nice. And then we go into our really, really nice tutting section or rotating. Honestly, I would probably give it more arm control because of just how they're phrasing it and their posture in it. Not really quite full tutting, but they're similar, right? There's a lot of overlap. I like this little, just, oh, hello there. Great charisma. She goes to the other side. I like that. Was it an air screw that she just did? Let's look. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da. Something along those lines on the overhead. I like the opposition there, and then they snake that head to the other side. There's your cartwheel assist, which is really cool. You have the runs, and then they both do a cartwheel. And then the whoo. Yes, ma'am. I like the little partner work moment here, and then we have some moments happening here. I like this choice where you have these 2 moments, and then you have your group of 3 go down, and I like that they go there. They recognize directionally this little snaking, and then from here that gets them to come up, and then eyes, 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 and we bring it to the back of the head. Let's go. This right here, doesn't it remind you of Sarah? I love it though. So there you have the overhead and the nice little flick of the passe. Everyone was balanced. I love the fact no one fell out of it. That's the kind of stuff that makes me feel like, well done, groups, because every group did everything they set out to do. You know, could things be cleaner? Could things be more refined? Could the prop work better? Yes, but we didn't have anybody fall. We didn't have anybody injure themselves, at least here that we can see. And everybody did their best, and we get to celebrate that. That's what I like about this challenge. We're here for it. I love it. It's a celebration of we did it. We get to celebrate, right? It's great. I like the way we take it up and then we double it, and so it's a really fun add-on. Boom, boom, boom. That's fast too. With the air screw, and then do a little passe. Look over, really nice. There, and I like how we use that as just a rotation to get us around, having it frame around the back of the head. The little eyes, eyes, eyes. And then, my mind. So I like how we use it from the chest and use the energy, right? Where our energy is on this chest, notice where my weight wants to go down, they send it to the floor. I love freaking transitions like that. Let the body do what it wants to do, but it makes it more seamless that way, as you saw, right? It's so cool. I like the hit there, little hair flip to lift the bottom over, and then we have a nice straight leg, bringing it back in, out, and it's cool. It kind of looks like we've just destroyed the city in a cool way. Nice little kick, and then bring it up into a split. Just like you got F.E.D pulling the kip up in unison, they pull a freaking split like that. Everybody held it down well. Great on that. They pick it up. I like the trace up the side of the hip. They flick it, bringing it over, and then hit, and then they have a nice little moment. They're like, oh, hi there. And then you throw the arms up, and I like the little passe with the lift. We're here for it. Eyes, eyes, and then they finish with the hinge. That's really well done. Like, that's respect to that. Goodness, you know. And I would say out of all the groups, they showcased themselves, like the color of themselves, very well in most challenges. Like it felt very HANOIXGIRLS, especially starting in like with Mega and then with these 2 challenges. Well done in that, for sure. And then, of course, my first look at HANOIXGIRLS was K-pop challenge, and we got to see a lot of them there. But I think that this challenge, and honestly the previous one, felt more like their color of their intensity. Same with Mega too, of course, but it just feels like them, like these girls on stage, which is something that they should be very, very proud of. Okay, what in the world with SoFire? Very, very proud of them for starters on this. Goodness. I'm excited. The subtle lean on this was cool. The bedazzled headpiece. It does look like a do-rag, and I think that's what we're doing, which to me, this is not like the least functional do-rag you can ever do. I just think it's a hairpiece. We're just gonna call it like a head wrapping, honestly, with just a nice little extra fabric, because I think it's just mesh or sheer material. I'm like, what is the name of it? It's not tulle or anything, but it's sparkly. Like, there's no functional value to that besides fashion. It's a vibe. We love it. And especially like seeing in the middle how they drape it down. Freaking dope. They turn into ninjas. It's really cool. And then goes eyes. So they just look like bedazzled office workers. Honestly, it's really cool. The pulse is cool. Personally, for me, I know it is a risk for them to wear like a baggier fit like this, but it feels more coated. Like, I bet we want to feel like us on the strap. And to me, if that's what we want to wear to feel that way, victory to you for that. Goodness. The brush on the jacket is fun. And it goes inner, G, that little head is nice. G, so they're hitting the music the way they want to. And that's what we're celebrating on this. Body roll, I'm a star. I like the looking, me. So the structure of how they're doing that, like with the ponies, I have seen something similar to this, not on this circuit at all, but in the, like I said, the convention competition realm, in the fullness that they chose to do. But it's really just this opening sequence, I feel that way, and I mean that in a very complimentary way. Like, it's very competitive in the the open category in America. Like, that could hang very well, is my point. So I'm just saying, it's cool. I like the little bleed on that, is cool. Shantae. You know, I know. And then we do a body roll. Oh, not a body roll, but chest and chest with a drop. And I like the bleed on it. Like, they're letting the body carry and bleed over through the phrases to match how it's being sung. Very well done. A nice little, let's go. Tick, 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 tick. I personally wish it was just a smidgen more readable, and part of it can come from costume, but I see what they're going for. Just like with some choices F.E.D did, like I saw what they were going for, and we can appreciate the attempt. Here, I can appreciate that we are recognizing that sound. I see what they're going for. We love it. We're here for it. And I like the bringing it up, we're bringing the energy, swooping it up. It's cool. And then from here, I like we go from our first person, and then we go, I'm coming. And then it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So every 2 counts, we have somebody join in. But I like how they join in. It's nice. It's fun. Hit, da-da-da. I do wish it was a smidgen more full in range, but it's still really cool, and I like the choice. And then we range, nice and full to hit the high note. And then run in, we do a little swivel. Come on now. We turn through, and we go hit, syncopated for sure. And it goes, okay. We walk, bad, and they're honestly giving similar to, Criminal, which is wild. So F.E.D had like the essence of the posture that we saw in Criminal. They got the fits and the elegance that Criminal, the concept shoot, had, which is why I think that's why this works too. That's so cool. So I like the energy. So they go and they bleed it over or around and down. I like the little taps of the wrists are really nice. Then I'm a star. I like that little extra embellishment on the top end. And I love this. Selling. And they showcase such versatility between this and their last challenge. Like, that is very impressive what they brought in the first challenge to this. And I'm not talking about like K-pop challenge. I'm talking about in this whole little blurb of analysis. That is really cool. They win in diversity, like obvious diversity of concept. Fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Love it. Yeah, look at me, and I like how we have a little arch, and we kind of place our weight in that back of the hip, and then I like that they're actually looking very nice. So they have this moment there. I don't know. I think we were supposed to do the same. I think one of them dropped first and the other one did. That's fine. You can, because it's just those two, it can look like a canon into unison for them, which is fine. I love that little with the body roll. Oh, come on, aerial shot. And then they have this little push back on the leg, and then we have this little arch moment there. And then you have the knee spin. Come on now. But the head is cool. There's always a risk when you do a head and you have a head piece on that could fly off. So good job making it secure, but also where you can still move it. Nice bridge recover. And then we create a nice little just diagonal line with connection. They also have red gloves. Huge risk when you do red gloves because we are going to want to look at your hands and what are you doing with them. Just like if you're wearing a bodysuit and you have nothing baggy to help you, we're looking at every angle you choose to go with collectively and independently. So everybody chose to go risky, and that's what makes me so happy of the fact that everybody's routines worked and that their risk paid off, right? Like it doesn't feel like the risk worked against them in a way where mistakes happen, right? So I like the little step out on that. It's really fun. Little step. Then they swing it down. Little tap. Come on. And then we have a little switch, a little heel twist, and we have our arms. And I like the crossover and the represent. Click. That could have been a smidgen cleaner, but I like the intention. And then right here, boom, I like the grab of the tie. And then they throw it to the other side, and I love how they're looking at the tie and they're patting their chest. That's cool. With the extra pulse, and that pulse reminds you of HANOIXGIRLS pulse too, right? That's just cool how they have some similarities, but they're so different. Love it. And I like this little moment with the little arch of the sternum on that too. The turn is nice. The hit, and I like this angle here is really nice. And then we cover the eyes. They're there. I like that little breath. That's definitely giving a little seductive tease, isn't it? But part of it could come from the fact that they're wearing a fit that's normally deemed more masculine with like a feminine quality of the sparkles, and then how they chose to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels very androgynous in a fantastic way. It's so cool. And they go front and to the side, and then the body roll there is really nice. Now, can some people see this right here? Remind you of 1mils from Black, was it Black, Pink, maybe that section? Yes, I don't care. It's cool, and I like how they got into it. The context of it's really nice, and it is different than what we saw from 1mil. They don't own the Thai partnering moment, but because they did that particular performance in the Street Fighter franchise, it is something we can note. But I like the fact that they added this in across the eyes, made it its own little moment, and then they continue to use it with more complex partnering, and everybody grabbed the Thai too. Way to go. A little tap, tap, tap. Very nice to hit that there. And then they go. And honestly, the little tap, tap, tap is hard to do. And so they did pretty good. And then they swoop it, their hip up. The little eyes. I really, really, really like this a lot. I really like the footwork there. Super fun. And it was a traveling, I mean, it's a traveling bedrock almost. It's kind of what that feels like, a really, really full bedrock. Really cool though. And I like the little switch up there. It's super fun. And then we have some ISOs, and then we present the hands front. And then we have our arms bringing it through, and I like the head ISO to boot with that. And the dig. We're feeling it. Come on. Yes. And I like this choice. The unison is totally fine because they have done that as an add-on. Absolutely. And it would have freaking bodied, but this was still really cool. I love the vantage point. Yep. And then from here, I like the heel twist, and then we have our arms just nice and straight, and to complement on the other side. It feels very So Fire, just like their last challenge did, and it kind of ties into some of the choices. It makes a lot of sense why they went the way that they did. Yeah. And then from here, now that I thought she was taking it off, but no. And then she brings it down. Eating. I love that surprise, and I love the stylized hands. They're like, okay, now we aren't playing. I've definitely HANOIXGIRLS and So Fire both said halfway, game over is what they felt. I love it. I love that rotation. I love this choice and how they bring the arms in. I love the stylized hands on that too. Everybody now has it across their face. Really dope. I love this bridge right here, and they take it over. I like the press on that. The rotation through. You have your head. Come on. Yes, and it goes flick, flick, which is nice. Body roll is also nice on this. And then they bring it around. Boom. Nice accent over to the corner. Then they go travel it through in a ripple to your feature on the side. I like how she folds it, unfolds it, and then she has a nice little accent moment there. And then she presses. They all bleed away. Or just have a little accent there. They all reset down. Features up. She comes up. Then she threads herself through the holes. Well done there. And then they end up threading through her arms. And then they take her, they lift her into a flip. Love the forward roll out of that too. We also have a suitcase, or like a briefcase, that gets thrown forward, right? So that flip with the forward roll, so that briefcase gets sent forward right before the forward roll. Very nice strategy. And the fact that the briefcase freaking worked. That it didn't go off stage, that it didn't get caught on anybody. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We can celebrate that. That's awesome. Everything worked. Woo! That's a good challenge. And then everyone's at their best, right? It's cool. She has a little tease. She says, oh, look at my briefcase. Then I like that we had our dancers holding the chair, because guys, these chairs are on wheels, and they're going to go bye-bye over into the audience if you don't have them held at all. So I like the fact that we have people properly delegated to allow this action where they're on it, and they do a nice little kick around. The fact we can do that nice and safely, as safe as you can, it's nice. So she does a nice little overhead here. She gets up. This is the only time that I thought she's about to drop. This right here. She goes, yeah, do you see that? She goes and she maintains her balance, and then she freaking eats at the end. Come on. And then she has this briefcase. And this is where I thought, we have a concept now. Cool. They take the chairs over. And then I wanted to see how she got out of that straddle, but whatever. I like the chairs on this. Really dope mirror transition. And when I talk about mirror, is if I had a mirror right here in the middle, and I have somebody over here that's moving wee to wee, having somebody else on this side also going wee to wee in the same amount of time, that to me feels very balanced in your transitions. I love that. Come on. And we go right here, bring it front. And then we have this little moment, a little trace. Now, could the textile of the glove impact on the textile and material of the chair? Yes, it did feel a little sticky on some of them. Doesn't feel like a true trace. whatever. I see the intention. We love it. Rotating it through. I like the pick up there. Somebody's got the Harley Quinn gesture hat, and that's funny. And then pick up there. I like the little fanning there. It's nice. They pick it up and over. The turn is nice. They do a little dip. Come on now. They said, let's go. We're ready. And the pick up here. 1 and 2. Da 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 da. This is such a fun vibe. It's so cool. Da 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 da. The syncopated is so cool. And they rotate the hips around. I would want to learn this. Do you know what I mean? It just looks so fun. And the picking up there around with the transition and the rotation. I like the little tap tap in the back with the accent with the arm. Come on now. And then it feels like we're about to do a really femme kind of Dougie, but we don't. Totally fine too. But yeah, da 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 da. Matching the tone or the rhythm. And I bring it down, pick it up, using I think we're using a body roll transition, but let's look. Yeah, da 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 da. I like how we trace on the back of the hands to that moment too. And it goes eyes, eyes, eyes. And then we have the little breaking down, boom, 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 syncopated hip. But they're using the knees to make that happen, which I love. We have somebody else in the back. They roll, which is nice. And they end up doing the same thing. Oh, my, with the head. Come on now. And they do it twice. Oh, no, they do it 3 times. So we held up the briefcase. So she has it uncinched. She still has it, like, held. So good job having long fingers, because my fingers are so small. It would open on accident. So they all come up, bridge recover. And we have their moment. Boom. Love it. Look at us. We got the ice. Now, ice can be like a gold chain, diamonds, right? It's dope. That was really, really well done. We're here for it. I'm honestly impressed on the logistics of this headpiece, where they have, I think it looks like a slit, and then they were able to fold it down or fold it back up, and it just looked completely different. This was really, really dope. So, yeah, in general, I think I'm, like, that's such a cool shot. I'm really proud of SWFV for how they tackled that track. It's so different, and it really felt like them. Like, every group felt like themselves, and that's what made it, like, so beautiful to me, honestly. So I've been very privileged of the opportunity to be able to follow these groups in this way alongside you guys, so we can celebrate the true beauty of the growth and see them have their final performance in this way. It's awesome. Everyone technically won because we got to showcase dance and represent Vietnam in a cool way here. This was great. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. So I am right about to watch the episode, and I do know I make a special appearance in that, which I am excited to actually see and celebrate with y'all. Woo! I'm actually surprised that my criticism of how the network structured the show didn't steer them away, but I think it's super cool. And I've already done the analysis for the previous VPOP challenge. That should be on YouTube by the time this gets released on YouTube, but all of this got early released on Patreon all in one go, because I can only release like 1 video a day on YouTube analytically. So I'm excited for the commentary on this. Who was your favorite and your preference? I loved all of them for different reasons. I really like F.E.D and their risk, and I liked how they showcase themselves in content, and I really love the creativity and the concept justification that SWFV brought. With HANOIXGIRLS, I really liked some of the choices that they made in their structures, as well as how they finished their endings were really nice on both challenges. You guys know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.